G'day, I'm Rob from the Global Society at Sydney Airport today, heading for Hong Kong. And I wanted to share a message with you, which is something that I've heard literally thousands of times from students over the past few years. You know, we're constantly being pushed to do things that we don't necessarily want to do. Society's always telling us, like, you got to go to school, then you got to go to uni, and you got to make sure you graduate on time so that you can get a job and start working and building a career. But this message, guys, is something that flies in the face of that, and that I've heard so many times that it just has to be said. So many students have said to me, don't be obsessed about your graduation date, and if need be, delay your graduation in order to study overseas. And I'm going to tell you why. So the first reason is that it's contradictory the way that everyone and society keeps telling us that we've got to be in a rush to get through uni and get out and get a job anyway. Because what's the thing that's going to get you the best possible job? Well, it's experience. And going and studying overseas is something that is amazing on your resume. So it is much more likely to get you the job that you want. Now, that's not just me saying it. There's actually decades of academic research that shows that students who've had international study experiences are more employable. Why? I'm going to talk more about these in a little bit of detail, but you end up with amazing skills. You end up with great stories that you're able to tell. You end up with diversity on your resume, and it shows you can be outside your comfort zone. And these are all things that employers love. The research shows that your job search time is likely to be shorter, and even your starting salary can be higher if you've had an international study experience. Number one, it's all about your job at the end, and if it takes a little bit longer to get out there and get it, and then you get a job that you want, that's already a great start. All right, number two, and it's all about the interview. So you've gone and studied overseas, maybe your graduation has been delayed, but it's pumped up your resume, and now you're sitting across the table from somebody who you're hoping is going to give you a job. Well, how are you going to convince them? If all you've done is go to uni and just gone through school, go straight on to uni, it's going to be a hard job for you. If you've got international study experience, whether that's like exchange, short programs, internships, volunteering, any kind of those learning experiences on your resume, and most importantly, in your story bank, it's going to be much easier for you to convince somebody. Now, why is that? The reason for it is that storytelling is such a compelling way to be persuasive. So if you can tell somebody facts about yourself, that's one thing. If you can then recount a story, you actually bring them in and they get to know you better. Having had that international study experience gives you some of the most compelling stories that are not only fantastic from like a skills basis, but are also compelling in sharing a bit more about who you are and making sure that that person sitting across the table can actually resonate with you. All right, number three. Well, you might need the stories for the interview, but you need the money for the trip. And the thing that's incredible for Australian university students is the number of funding opportunities that are actually available for you. There's this thing called OS Help. OS Help is basically like an interest-free loan that goes on your HECS debt that you can then use to fund an overseas study experience. It's the only time in your entire life that somebody is going to loan you money for nothing in order for you to go travelling and do something. You've got to take advantage of it. Now, outside of that, the universities, the Australian government all have really generous scholarship schemes. You can find heaps of information about the different scholarships that are available for studying overseas on the Global Society's website. But all of this funding is there for you. It's the only time in your life that it's available. Why rush out to go working when you can pick up money in order to go and study overseas, study and travel at the same time? Yes. Let's walk and talk. Number four. You know, one of the most incredible things about going to study overseas is the fact that it just opens up your perspective and opens up your mind in such incredible ways. You know, so often in our lives, we've always followed the same path. You know, people push us in certain directions. We keep doing the things that we're familiar with and the things that we know how to do. And we don't change. When you step out and go and study overseas, it's going to completely change your perspective on just about everything. Why is that so important? Well, unless you're one of those super lucky people who knows exactly what it is that they want to do with their life, studying overseas will give you exposure to so many new and different things that will then help you, hopefully, work out what it is that you actually want to do with your time on this earth. When you study overseas, you're going to meet tons of people, you're going to experience a new education system, you're going to experience a new culture. All of these are going to give you a completely different perspective on where you are in life, in time, right now. I like to think of this thing which is like a fork in the road. When you step out and you go and study overseas, suddenly you're going to realise that you have all of these unlimited possibilities in your life. You can live overseas, you can work overseas, you can change career directions. All these things are possible, but you don't actually get to experience that and open your mind unless you get away from your day-to-day existence, your day-to-day, routines, and test yourself a little bit. And that's what overseas study will do for you. Now, most important stop of the morning. Coffee. If you're one of those people who hasn't yet worked out what to do with your life, welcome to the club. Like everybody, it's really hard to decide what you're going to do, and studying overseas will actually give you so many more opportunities to explore and search for the things that you're really passionate about and interested about, and things that you might pursue in terms of your career. And you know what? If you're one of those super lucky people who does know exactly what it is that you want to do with your life and with your career, I'm super envious of you. And this is an experience that's going to be such a massive plus on your resume and give you so much more ammunition to get you exactly where you want to go that you just can't not do it. That's what thousands of students have told me in the past, and it's true for you too. I'm absolutely convinced of that. Number 5 is about skills, and there's tons of research, decades and decades of research that shows that international study experiences gives you some of the most incredible skills that are going to make you more employable and actually stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. So things like being more flexible and adaptable, more creative, being a better problem solver, having better intercultural adaptability, being able to work better in teams, all of this stuff has been demonstrated over many, many years as outcomes of skills that you get when you go and study overseas. Now these things are obviously amazing when it comes to boosting up your resume and getting a job. But life in general, we always need more skills in terms of pushing ourselves further. And this sort of stuff is foundational for you. So do you get that just by going to uni, going to your classes, working a casual job on the weekend? Maybe a little bit, but nothing will give that to you more than an international study experience. And there's decades of research to back it up. So that's why that's so compelling in terms of the skills that you gain. Okay, it's boarding time. So my last tip number 6 about why it's important for you to make sure you have an international study experience as part of your degree, even if it means delaying your graduation. And that's because this is the best investment that you can possibly make in you. It's amazing for your resume. It's going to be fantastic in terms of opening your horizons. You're going to make new friends. You're going to experience another culture. It's the only time that anyone is going to give you money or give you free money in order to go and have an international study experience. You're going to gain skills that are going to completely change your life. And it's not just me saying it, it's literally thousands and thousands of people who will give you exactly the same message. That's why you need to delay your graduation if you have to in order to study overseas as part of your degree. I'm Rob from the Global Society. I'm off to Hong Kong. Just go do it. See you next time.